It certainly was a well-planned operation, and at this stage it's quite clear that it wasn't just a well-planned operation by the riot police, but also by sanitation officials, because if you take a look over here behind me, those orange trucks, that is part of the clean-up team. A clean-up team, it must be said, that arrived in Gezi Park and in Taksim Square probably less than an hour after riot police first went in there. And teams of clean-up workers clad in green overalls have been working in the park throughout the night, and that park now is very clear. It is hard to believe that for more than 2 weeks, hundreds, if not thousands of protesters had been camping out there, had set up a tent city. There is no sign of the tent city, there's no sign of the banners, and even the graffiti we can see now is being painted over. All this after dramatic events through the night, just before night was falling, in fact. That is when hundreds of riot police divided up into columns and moved systematically and swiftly through Gezi Park. We saw them tearing down tents, turning over tables. There were some angry face-offs with protesters, but in general terms, the protesters seemed disorganized. They didn't predict the timing of this police operation, and in general terms, they fled back into the side streets around Taksim Square, and that set the stage for running battles through much of the night between protesters, some of whom were lobbing bottles and rocks, and on the other hand, well-equipped riot police who went into action with water cannon and with tear gas, lobbing tear gas. We did see on one or two occasions some signs of police brutality. At one stage, we saw a police officer with a helmet headbutting a protester in the face. We don't have a clear figure on injuries right now. We know that the governor of Istanbul has talked in terms of about 30 injured protesters, but from the side of the protesters, the medics that have been helping them out all along, they're talking in terms of excess of 80 injured. So that is a figure that we're working throughout the day to check on for you, Natalie.
And so it's hard to believe that this protest that grew to really be an expression against the government is over just like that. What are you hearing?
Let's not count those chickens before they hatch, Natalie. We have seen over social media the protesters, and they're of an age where they're very active on social media, and we've seen calls for them to regroup, to reorganize. Physically, they're not here. Virtually, they are very active. We could see later on in the day them regrouping in parts of the city. We could maybe even see them try to return to the side streets around here, around Taksim Square. What we also know as well is that Prime Minister Erdogan called on his supporters to come out for a counter demonstration today here in Istanbul. That is planned for later on in the day, and we'll see what the protesters have to say about that, to see if they try and come out at the same time, Natalie.
All right, Carl Penhall for us there in Turkey. Thank you.